If you're in debt, don't take it so bad, don't take it so negative, don't take it like you're not worth. We all have to go through these kind of situations in order to become a better person and understand the game of money. Hello guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Isaura Abru. In this channel we talk all about financial development, money, side hustles, personal development, and more. So if any of these topics interest you, consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. I have seen a lot of YouTubers talking about debts, how they have been able to pay off all these debts, but none of them are talking in the present. None of them say nothing about they're in debt right now or whatever. They all talking in the past and how they were able to achieve these that we all want. And that is great. But when you are in the present moment and you're going through the problem right now, it feels a little different. So your perspective might be different at the moment than after you have already achieved that. So this is why I put myself in this position and I decided to talk about that, because I am going through debts right now, from personal loans, from credit cards to student loans that I had in the past and I'm still paying off. Yes, this is a topic that some people are ashamed of talking about, but I am going to address this issue right here in this video right now. I am going to be breaking this video in 3 parts. The first one is the debts that I have, the second is how I'm targeting, and the third one is what am I going to do after I finish up paying my debts. I know nothing about debts. I mean, I know you could borrow money from a friend or whatever and then you pay them back. That was the basic things that I know, right? Because nobody talk about debts really, or loans or nothing like that. So when I got out of college, school, then I went to college and I got my first debt, my student loans. Then I got some credit card debts, because when you're in school or when you are a certain age, you are trying to be in the level of other people, no minding about your own situation. You want to mimic whatever others are doing, and by this you start researching and finding out that you can take out loans, that you can have credit cards, etc. And since you don't really care about what really is a credit card or a loan, if not about the things that you can get with it, you get into all these bad situations that might have a very negative impact in the long term. And yeah, it's sad. All that I said just now was me. I didn't even care about what was credit and what was a loan or whatever. I pretend I knew to look cool maybe, but I didn't know shit about it. Sorry for the language. They didn't teach me nothing about financial education. In school, they didn't teach me that either. They teach me history, science, etc. Things that I don't even use right now. I'm 27 years old and I don't know nothing about what they teach me maybe 10 years ago. I don't know where they thought I was going to use all the things that they teach me when I was in school. But let's go back to the topic. So no knowing anything, I started getting into all these debts. Now at the beginning, it was easier to pay because the amounts that I was taking out, they were lower. But then when ambitions start to hit and you want to level up your game with money that you don't have, but that you know that maybe you will be able to pay it later, because that's the excuse that we all have, then you start to take a little bigger loans, putting more balance on that credit card, etc. That's when things get wrong. For me, it was the same way. Not knowing what I was doing, telling myself that I could always pay it later and do my minimum payments and that will be okay. You get into a cycle, especially in the credit cards, where you pay and you're just paying for the interest of the card. You're not actually putting the balance of that credit card down. You're just paying the interest, the monthly interest, and that is crazy. When you don't know anything about financial education or how credit cards work, etc., you are so blind. It's like we have a blanket over ourselves and we don't know nothing. It is very sad. And I just want to say through this video that it's very important for you to try to get the education you need in order to know these things, because it's important, especially if you want to be wealthy, not rich. Because, for example, I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. This means I want to have a stable life where I am not dependent in any outsiders to have my things set up for life. With this being said, with all these loans and things, first thing I did was realizing that I had a problem. Started researching to see what could I do to improve my situation. And the first thing I came up with, it was budgeting. The idea of budgeting for me was crazy because I didn't know what this was. But I followed some steps that I find out on Google, and after creating that budget, I decided that I had to take action on these credit cards, these loans payments. So I decided to take massive action because I want to get rid of this shit. Sorry, I really want to. It's stressful. So I was like, you know what, let me just write down all the expenses that I have. Let me write down all the loans, credit card payments, etc. that I have, and let me see where can I fix my budget in order to put some money out to those payments that I'm making, so that I can pay them faster, so I can pay these credit cards faster. So for example, I started cutting off on my telephone bill. My mom doesn't really use, I have my phone and my mom's phone, so my mom doesn't really use the internet. She used the Wi-Fi at home, so I decided to cut off the unlimited plan that she had because she always used the Wi-Fi, and I was able to save some money to put it towards that. I also did the same thing with the home cable. I don't use cable here in the house. My daughter, my mom, we all watch YouTube videos. We don't even use cable, so I took that down. That was $52 that I'm saving and that I am able to put towards that credit card payment, which is my highest interest. This is another thing. Credit cards have a freaking higher interest, so you want to target the credit cards with the higher interest. Be careful with that. It's crazy. It is crazy. You could be making $120 payment and that all goes to interest depending on the balance that you have on the account. Crazy. Be very careful with credit cards. Another thing is I actually decided to just cut up in any areas that I wasn't really utilizing, so that I can put that extra money towards those payments, and that's what I am currently using. But once I start budgeting, I was able to also see the areas that I was expending a lot of money on. For example, subscription. This is a big one because I didn't realize how many subscriptions I have for things that I don't even use. I didn't even know what was that. And I was like, oh my God, why am I paying this if I don't even use it? You will be surprised that it will come up to $100 and you're like, what in the world is this? So subscription, take a look at that because it could be something really affecting your finances too, and that extra money could be put towards something else. And that is the first thing. Budgeting, which is going to help you see where are the areas that you are spending the most, and then taking the time to really write down all the debts that you have, the interest rate, and use whichever method is better for you to take action and pay the highest interest, the lowest interest, or whichever way you want to do it. For me, I do it the avalanche way, where I take the payment with the highest interest and I target that first, and then I work my way all the way to the lowest. This is what works for me because I don't want to be paying interest to the bank. I mean, I don't want to give out my money just like that after all this time that I was wasting, like what I was doing. Like, no, I need to get it together. So yeah, that is working really well for me. Other stuff that you can do in order to pay this even faster is, if you don't have a side hustle, my friend, you need to get one. I'm sorry, but especially if you live in New York City like I do, you need a side hustle to survive, because it is not possible to survive in New York City if you don't have a side hustle. How you do it? If you live in New York City, you don't have a side hustle, let me know in the comments, what are you doing? Because we need to do the same thing. I'm joking, but some people have the opportunity that they live with the family members, with the parents, etc., so they don't have a lot of expenses. That's not the case for me. So I do have a lot of expenses, so I have to keep my budget very tight so that I can save in other areas that are really important for me to have funds on in case of an emergency. This is another thing. Make sure you have your emergency funds, because in case of emergency, you don't want to touch any of the money that you're putting towards your debt, etc., because that will be a bad mess, especially with your credit. And if you are pretending to live in the United States or New York for a long time, messing up with your credit could really have a negative impact in your life and your financial future. With that being said, this is how I'm approaching debts. For me, it's working well. You do not have to get it so complicated. People put it so complicated, and it doesn't have to be that complicated. I don't know how to put my debts in order, so I went online and I searched for an app that tells me how can I put my debts in order, and how, if I have, let's say, 200 extras every month, how can I arrange that to pay my debts faster. And I'm gonna leave the link of that page that I went to on the description of this video. I find it on Google and I thought it was gonna be helpful for you guys, so I'm gonna leave it in the description. It gives you a nice breakdown of if you have, let's say, $200 extra to put every month, how you should do it according to your debts and the interest rate. So it's a really great tool that I have been using, and it's great. It has helped me really see and organize and have an idea of when am I going to be debt free, which is great because you feel like, oh my God, I can do this. So stay consistent. And let's say that you are debt free. So what is next? Next is keep budgeting, my friend. You thought you was gonna hear something very fun? No, you have to keep your budget, because this is the way that you're going to reach a long-term success. Having your budgets so that you know where your money is going every single month. And of course, while you're in this process of paying your debts, make sure you are committed to yourself. This is something that you're doing for you, for your family, for whichever goal you have in life. And if you're in debt, don't take it so bad, don't take it so negative, don't take it like you're not worth it, etc. We all have to go through these kind of situations in order to become a better person and understand the game of money. And once we know that, it's going to be really simple to live a good, a great life, a wealthy life, where money is not going to be a problem. I keep very clear the goal that I have at the end of this journey. So this is what really keeps me motivated every time. I know that time is going to go by even if you don't do anything. So what if you decide to do something? Time flies, so take advantage that you can start now and work your way up, and then see yourself all the way there and look back and be so proud that you decided to take massive action when you thought about it, or maybe when you saw this video. Maybe this is a goal for you to take a massive action. And if it's like that, I am so glad that it was me that is giving you the push that you need to succeed in this area of your life, because we all want to be financial free. We all have dreams and things that we want to do, and it is totally possible. So decide to commit with yourself, and then decide to do these things that they see simple, but yet not everybody does it. So please give it a like to this video, because I know you like it, because if you stay to the end, that means you liked it. Consider subscribing to the channel too if you like these kind of topics. There's going to be a lot of great topics in the future that you don't want to miss. So make sure you watch these videos next to get more inspired, and don't forget to leave your comments, questions, etc. I hope you guys have a wonderful time.